Hi YouTube, Big Apple, here today to talk about pocket pistols. I hear pocket pistol thrown around so much. Well, what's a true pocket pistol exactly? And my two candidates to talk about pocket carry today, Car CM9 and Car P380. Let's start at caliber. The 380 is anemic. Well, my response, it's still capable, it's better than nothing, and a 380 ACP allows the handgun to be extremely small and portable. So when you look at these two, you think, they really don't look that much different. They don't look that much different, but when you start comparing the specifics of them, it really starts to change a whole lot. And there are people that say, oh, 9mm, nothing. Well, sometimes your attire does not allow you to carry something that big, and in my opinion, 9mm is the line between inside the waistband and pocket carry. My CM9 can fit in some pockets, but a 380 will always be with you because it can fit in almost all pockets. So a 9mm may be above 380, yes, but the 380 will always be with you because it doesn't force you to change what you wear. This can probably be carried in a pocket in gym shorts in this DeSantis Nemesis, which is a great pocket holster, by the way. I know I've talked about that before. This little thing is so light, it's so portable. You know, you can really fit it in just about any pocket, and it won't be bothersome at all. Well, my 45 has more knockdown power. This is for you XDS guys. It also carries fewer rounds, and the short barrel prevents it from getting up to speed as well. So all of these have a short barrel. So generally, in my opinion, I don't know how much science there is behind this, but you're gonna want something high pressure. You want something that builds up pressure very quickly so that round can have as much velocity as it can. Because as you know, rifles and pistols with longer barrels get more power out of a cartridge because they allow a more complete burning of the powder inside the case. So my CM9 here, I think the barrel is like 2.5, 3 inches. I'm not sure of the exact length, and I think the length of the 380 barrel is 2.5 inches, but I'm not positive on that either. So they're both really small, and they won't get a ton of velocity out of those. So if you're shooting a 45, which is generally a low pressure round, I don't feel like it would pick up as much speed as it could, or as one of these rounds could. But then again, that's only my opinion. I haven't studied any science behind that, so I haven't chronoed anything. But that's how I feel about it, at least. And I have it also carries fewer rounds. So 45 is huge. You know, the round itself is really big, so you can only fit 5 rounds in the flush fit mag in an XDS. That's probably already a little bit bigger than one of these. Yes, this fits 6 rounds. It is only a single one more. Yes, this is 7 rounds. It's only, it's only one more than the 6-round mag. But if it's a pistol that I feel like I would need in an emergency situation to protect my life, I want as many rounds as I can possibly have. If it's the difference in one round and the ballistic performance of the 9mm versus 45 isn't that much different, I'm going to go with the 9mm because I feel like that's just going to work better for me. It's also a personal opinion, not necessarily backed by science, but that's how I feel about it. So what about weight? Well, unloaded weight, P380 or the CW380, which I've talked about before, dimensionally identical, about 10 ounces. Car PM9, CM9, which are dimensionally identical, about 16 ounces. And then the XDS is about 22 ounces in the 45 and 23 in the 9mm. I know what you're thinking. 9mm is lighter. Why does it weigh more than that? Well, for the XDS, they wanted them to be identical in dimensions. And since they had such a big fat 45 barrel in the XDS 45, they had to make the barrel thicker for the 9mm. The upside of that is you can shoot higher pressure ammo, so that works out well, but it also does add a couple ounces in weight. 9mm and 45 handguns require considerably more structure. They need more metal around it to contain the round. So if you watch my P380 review, you could see how much extra metal there is on the CM9 versus the P380. You can see there's a lot more structure there. Now, also know these rounds are the exact same diameter. Here's a gold dot 9mm, here's a gold dot 380. They are the same diameter, their case is just different. This is 9 by 17 millimeters, this is 9 by 19. So to contain the added pressure in this longer round, you need a lot more structure to the gun so that it can absorb it. And the CM9 has done a great job at it. It's a great gun, but it's still not 100% pocket carry pistol. It can't fit in the pocket of everything comfortably. So as I just talked about with ammo. You also need to take into account the weight of ammo. I don't have a scale, but think of it this way, okay? 6 rounds of 90 grain, 380 jacketed hollow points, 6 rounds of 115 grain to 147 grain 9mm jacketed hollow points. And just for fun, think of 5 rounds of 185 grain or 230 grain 45 jacketed hollow points. Now the 45 is obviously going to be considerably heavier because those rounds are very, very heavy compared to the other ones. You know, a 230 grain round is literally twice the weight of a 115 grain round in 9mm. The case is also bigger. It may not necessarily have more powder, but the case is bigger too, so the round overall is going to weigh more. These little tiny 380 rounds, yes, they're pretty small. That's true. You can see compared to 9mm, they are pretty small, but that's a good thing. If you're carrying it in your pocket, you don't want it pulling your pants down all day. You know, you don't want to just be walking down the street and, you know, or if you're used to sagging pants. But regardless, the weight of the ammo really does make a big difference. Carrying a 9mm in the pocket with all this added structure and weight with the heavier ammo versus this tiny gun with the same amount of ammo, just lighter ammo. Well, I always have big pockets. Well, pocket carrying at 380 does not force you to change your attire, as I mentioned earlier. That little pistol will always be with you. Carrying an XDS 45 would be even more difficult. So you have a very heavy, you have a considerably heavy pistol compared to a 380. So it's about 10 ounces. It's about 10, yeah, about 10 ounces heavier, and you're carrying 5 or 6 rounds of extremely heavy ammo. So you would need to change your attire a lot more to even be able to accept that. So you definitely need something with a good belt. You need something with deep pockets. And you need to make sure you have, you know, strong enough pockets to be able to hold that up without pulling your pants down. So just some things to consider. Cool, so the 380 is pretty good. Should I carry full metal jacket ammo? I hear this sometimes, and I actually heard it from some experts. If any of y'all watch the Military Arms channel, I saw him do a video advocating for full metal jacket rounds in 380, but he has a military and law enforcement background, and I disagree with him. I say no. I disagree with some experts that suggested civilians are not protected if they accidentally injure a bystander in a conflict. So law enforcement has some sort of backing in case they accidentally hurt somebody. They have a whole department behind them that would be willing to defend them. And I mean, I'm not in law enforcement. I would think they have some sort of insurance against that sort of thing to protect them. But we don't get that. I'm just Joe Blow. I shoot a guy with a full metal jacket, 380 round. Round goes through him, hits somebody's kid, and they're disabled for life. Well, who do you think is going to be paying for that? Probably me. You want something that's going to go into your target and stop there. And, you know, even if you make a bad shot and miss, well, that's you missing. But if you shoot them with a 380 hollow point, the chances are much greater of this staying in the person than a full metal jacket round. Well, what about penetration? What if I don't hit vitals? Well, I'll talk about this too. A pocket handgun will probably not incapacitate someone immediately. A duty handgun, or more likely a rifle or shotgun, has more mythical stopping power. And so what do I mean a duty handgun has a greater chance of stopping someone immediately? Well, like I talked about earlier, the short barrel isn't going to get a whole lot of velocity behind whatever round you're shooting. You know, that doesn't really change with caliber, you know? So even around the tire pressure like 9mm doesn't have as much time to burn the powder leaving this barrel. So with a duty handgun, you've got a full-size handgun with more control. You can fire more often, and you have a longer barrel, so the rounds are leaving the barrel at considerably higher velocities. What do I suggest for 380? Well, I suggest you just get a good hollow point and you carry often if you can. Some good loads. And here, the top round here is a Corbon DPX, I believe. Might not be DPX, but it's a Corbon round. And then also the trusty Spear Gold Dot. I like this in just about every caliber. And there's the 9mm Gold Dot just for comparison. So just get a good jacketed hollow point load, and you know, if you carry a 380, get a good hollow point load and just carry it as much as you can. So conclusion, yes, a 380 in the pocket is weaker than a 9mm in the waistband. So if you can carry in the waistband, I would suggest carrying in the waistband over carrying in your pocket. But if your attire doesn't allow you to carry in the waistband, a pocket 380 would be ideal. If carrying a 380 is the difference between gun and no gun, carry a 380. You know, if you refuse to buy a pocket carry 380 and you have a carry permit and you're like, oh, well, I just don't want to go to all that pain, this little tiny thing right here feels about like a wallet. Look at that, it's like wallet size. So comparing it to this in the same holster, you can see the 9mm is considerably bigger. especially with the holster too. So it's a lot. It's really light. This thing will fit in just about any pocket and just feel like a wallet. Same goes for the LCP or the Keltec P3AT. They're about the same dimensions as this one. So if the difference is no gun or gun, get a 380 and you have a gun. And even just drawing out the gun could scare off somebody who's willing to do you harm or someone you love harm. So you might not always have to pull the trigger, but you still have a gun. You're still armed, and that's the important part. So this is Big Apple signing out. If you have questions, just comment.